What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we're going to address some of the questions regarding Homer and what happened to him at the Freedom Factory, about 2 weeks ago, when we went down for burnout rivals in the Freedom 500. Secondly, we're going to go ahead and address a new build that we've got coming up here very, very soon. I haven't done any of these on the channel, but I have done them in the past and absolutely love doing that kind of work. And I'm going to bring you guys along on the ride for that. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes though. So firstly, let's get going in on Homer. I'll kind of tell you where we're at right now, what our plans are to try to be ready for Indy, and kind of break down on what happened at the Freedom Factory. So let's just dig in. Let's get after it. This is Busted Radio Garage. All right, guys, here's where Homer sits as of today. You know, engine bay is completely empty. We've just kind of stuff just hanging around everywhere. You know, these straps are just what I use to help get the transmission out. But everything up here is fine other than being coated in oil and fuel and everything else, as you can imagine. Transmission is in perfect shape. I just have it out of the car, out of the way over here, so I can do some more work underneath, you know, while the engine's gone. Here's some engine parts sitting over here, just kind of chilling out and waiting. As you guys know, you know, I'm a table nerd. I try to keep everything on tables, you know, marked and baggies, whatever. So when I go to put it back together, I'm not hunting for stuff. And then over here, you know, is the rest of it. You know, got the radiator, the headers, carbs, fuel lines, you know, the hat, belt, so on and so forth. Here's the intake, and I'll show you here where this kind of failed. Or not the intake, but this is the 2-inch spacer for the intake. This thing completely just busted everywhere. Cracked it everywhere. So this gasket is compromised and bad. So we're getting a new one of those in here. Blower, for those of you that asked, and there was a bunch of you, did anything get sucked into the blower? And the answer to that is no. The blower is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, not a scratch on it anywhere. So hopefully that answers that for you. Next bunch of questions I had is regarding something being sucked down into the blower because we did not have the hat on, okay? So to answer that, here's my carb adapter that sits on top of the blower. As you can see, I don't know if you can see down in there, but these have screens in them, right? Also, here's the adapter that goes on top of the carburetors that the hat mounts to. It also has a screen provision. So unless it's just a super small rock or something really small, it's not getting down into that blower. So this whole section is fine. Now this is where the heads were sitting and where the intake was sitting. So those are currently off to Calvert Racing Engines up in Maysville, Kentucky, along with the engine. The engine was fine when I was looking at it in the car. If you've seen the photos on the community page, I had to block all the way down to a rotating assembly. Looked fine. But Jason, being the perfectionist he is, wanted to tear the engine plumb apart. He wanted to check the pistons, the rods. He wanted to make sure nothing was wrong with that engine whatsoever. And there wasn't. I just talked to him a little while ago. The engine's fine. It's actually being put back together as we speak. So the next video you see after this one, Homer should have his engine sitting back in there. Now, what did we damage? So we absolutely shredded both head gaskets. I mean, they were plumb destroyed. I'll put a picture of those right here. And then we also destroyed the gasket between the intake and the blower itself. Shredded it 100%. I'll put another picture here. And then we also destroyed the backfire, what's the right word for that? You guys probably know. The backfire springs or the backfire glass, destroyed that. So we're going to replace that as well. Now, what are we going to do to try to prevent this from happening again? So, firstly, Jason is going to drill the intake for a boost gauge. That's something I did not do before because, to be honest with you, I just ran out of time. Secondly, we're going to install a fuel gauge. Not a fuel gauge, but a fuel gauge. We're just going to monitor the PSI coming from the tank to the carburetors so we can keep that restricted down to whatever pressure Homer is happy with. so we don't run into the issue where we was at in Bradenton. And if any of you watched the video, and it is god awful everywhere, you know, it's in people's shorts and their videos, it's on Freedom Plus, I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. You know that that engine was running stupid rich, and that's ultimately what caused this, right? I mean, everybody can see that, and I do appreciate the comments on that as well. So anyway, this is going to be all addressed, and hopefully by the next video, you see Homer's going to be back up and running. Once we get everything installed, we're taking Homer up to Calvert Racing Engines. We are going to dyno the engine. We are going to dial everything in perfect before we leave this time. And to answer some of those comments, people were kind of confused or upset with me, or us rather, me, okay, let's just say it, that I did not dyno or test this engine before heading to Florida. Let me just be honest with you, I ran out of time. You know, the clock ticks down on all of us. My plan was to get there and test it at the Freedom Factory, you know, play around in it a little bit in the pits, take it out for the burnout competition, make a rip. And he was well on his way to doing that until boom. So, you know, it is what it is. We rebuild the engine, we put it back together, we learn from our mistakes, and we move on. It's not that big a deal. It'll be fine. I do apologize for the people that come down to see us, you know, to get some merch and all that jazz, and I just ran out of time to get stuff set up. You know, I just ran out of time. So, you know, we'll make it up to you in Indy, and we'll go from there. I do want to send a special thank you to Bob Miller and Beth Giddings, who come down and seen us at the Freedom Factory, and he brought me a pretty cool gift. Let me show this to you real quick. Bob Miller, if you're watching this, Bob, and I know you are, brought me this mini cowbell for Homer. And this one will get hung in the car, I promise you, hung on the car somewhere. Bob actually sent me a full-size cowbell, because you guys know how I feel. You always need more cowbell, right? And if you're a Saturday Night Live fan, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, Google it. It's one of the coolest skits ever. But anyway, Bob, thank you very, very much. This will go on Homer, and I'll keep the other one up in my office. So thank you, Bob. Thank you, Beth. I appreciate you. I want to give you a little shout out on that. All right, that's enough on Homer. If everything goes right, he'll be at Indy. Hopefully we can go up there and bust a set of tires off, maybe win a little bit of something. So let's go and get ahead on these other projects we've got going on. And mainly is going to be our new one that we just picked up the other day. A little bit of backstory on that. I was sitting around here, you know, I was kind of bored, if I'm being honest with you. Homer's kind of like just sitting there farting around like usual, you know, waiting. Linda's just wearing me out over there just because that's Linda. She's waiting on parts. I've actually got to get her, put her over here and start getting her taken apart, but just, I don't want to fool with her right now. And I wanted a new project. So I was like, you know what? I want to build a truck. I haven't done one in forever. Let's go find one. Then I got to thinking, do I want something? Do I want like an older truck and build it up? I mean, everybody and their brother's doing C10s right now and square bodies, you know, that's always going to happen. I wanted a new truck, something brand new, something that we could just make the, you know, make it ours, make it BRGs, make it the channels, right? Well, it wasn't going to be anything other than a Ram, I can tell you that right now. So I went up and seen Tim Short Auto Group, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram up in Maysville, Kentucky. Went and checked them out. Dudes were like, it wasn't the deal where like a salesman comes up to you instantly, wants to sell you something you don't need or whatever. Gabe up there was my salesman. Gabe, if you're watching this, I appreciate you very much. Told Gabe what I wanted. I was straight to the point, borderline rude, but you know, I wasn't trying to be, it's just how I am. I went up and said, this is what I want, show me what you got. Showed me 3 trucks, and 2 of them had all the bells and whistles, and I didn't want that. I did not want to buy something that had all the bells and whistles just to pull it off and throw it in the trash. I said, do you have anything bare bone stock, like with no bells and whistles whatsoever? And he goes, I have one. And I said, let's go see it. So he went up and showed me this truck, and I said, I'll take it. Essentially is what it come down to. I'll take it. So I bought it. And I sat up there for a few hours, bull crapped with them, and we worked out some YouTube deals and stuff, and ended up becoming really good friends. I mean, I had a blast. Bill up there, I think he's the general manager or sales manager, whatever, is freaking awesome. So I'm going to include some video footage from that dealership in here in this video. Killer place. I mean, awesome service center in the back. It's Tim Short Auto Group, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Go check them out, especially the one in Maysville. But if you're not in the area, that's cool. They got 30 different locations spread out absolutely everywhere, and they are literally on fire. They are growing and expanding all over the place. If you need a new car, go check them out. Tell them Busted Radio Garage or BRG sent you, and they'll take really good care of you, I assure you. So anyway, let me flip you around and show you what we bought. The lighting is kind of terrible, so I'll kind of move around. This is where the truck's going to sit for, you know, the immediate future. I've got to get it. I got to get stuff moved around is what I'm saying, because it's going to have to sit in here until we get going on it. I actually have already started reaching out to people about, you know, stuff for the truck, and I'll get with that here in a minute. But anyway, what we have is a 2024 Ram 2500 four-wheel drive 6.4 liter Hemi quad cab, or is that the crew cab? It's the bigger of the two, not really for sure, but it's plain Jane. I mean, I'm dead serious. It has no bells and whistles. Here's Tim Short's information. Make sure you go check them out for me. I appreciate you. But yeah, 4x4. Got the ugliest wheel tire combo I've ever seen in my life. But hey, when you want bone stock or bare bones or absolutely no bells and whistles, that's what you get. Those are going to be the first things to go. I've already reached out to custom offsets on a set of 20 by 10s with 35, it's 35, 12, 50, 20s we're going to put on here. Probably not going to go like super motor or super crazy. Maybe kind of an off-road, regular road package wheel, but it's going to look epic. I cannot wait to get going on those. And then as far as interior, it's just, you know, bare bones, you know. It's got the pleather seats. Really not a whole lot going on up here. This is all going to change. We're going to go some nice leather stitched. You know, we'll have some stuff put in the headrest. Real nice stitching. Reach out to our friends over at Little Red Barn, the ones that do all of our merch. See if they want to do some fancy stuff for the truck. That'd be kind of cool. All right, back at it up front here. Just, you know, plain Jane. That lighting's just absolutely terrible. But what I do like the most is the manual forward drive. I do not care for the push button jazz. This is, you know, I love this. But other than that, it's just about like every other Ram we own. About the same setup. But I wanted a 2500, something we could get out and beat on a little bit. So my plans are this. Let me run these by and see what you guys think. And you jump in the comments. You want to see something cool? Send it over to me. We might do it just for the heck of it. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I do have the solid glass in the back, which I like. I did not want a slider or any of that jazz. So I do appreciate that. So the first thing is like I said, custom offsets, 35 by 1250, 20-inch wheels. That's going to look slick. We'll do some cool tires. I don't want something super beefy. Then I'm kind of figuring the older gentlemen or ladies or gentlemen watching this video is I'm thinking like a Fall Guy meets Walker Texas Ranger look. What I mean by that is do a roll bar with some long tube kickers that come down the back, put some KC lights up here on top, maybe 5 or 6 lights. We'll do a real nice, like heavy grade utility bumper for the back. Match the front with a big old nice push bumper with a winch and all that jazz on the front. I don't know if I want to do step bars or not. What I'd really like to do would be a 6-inch suspension lift followed up by a 4-inch body lift. Then obviously it'll never fit in here again. I built a truck like that a few years back, and some of you that are watching this that know me outside of YouTube, I built a I think it was a 95 or 96 Silverado K2500 with a 454, and I'd done a 6-frame, 4-body, 40-inch motors with the same setup, had the spare tire mounted to the roll bars in the back, the lights, had the push bumper with the lights built in, and I loved that truck. Took it to a car show, and a gentleman just made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I sold it, and the very second he pulled away in it, I instantly regretted it. Never seen the truck again. So, yeah, you live and you learn. But anyway, this is a future project we got going on, so I'm excited to get going on that with you. In the meantime, I'm just gonna like scooch all these down and park it in here, and it'll stay here for the next few weeks till we get Homer done. I got to get Linda moved over here so I can get going on that. But I kind of got to wait on that until I get those tables cleared off back on Homer. At some point, we got to get our dragster in here, that rail we're gonna build with a 426 Hemi. It's gonna look cool. So we can go race Jeffro over at Two Hacks Garage at No Name. Hopefully I can get it done this year, but I don't know, maybe next year. Got some pretty cool stuff coming up with this Camaro. As you can see, there's a new block sitting back here that we're gonna have built for this, and it's going to be insane. So that's coming up here soon. Hopefully here, I don't know, maybe the next video you see or the one following that one, the wheels and tires will be on. And you're gonna be like amazed at what this looks like, because it's gonna be like literally down here. Full suspension change, things gonna look sick. Like it's probably gonna be wheel gaps, something like that, but cool. I just wanted to break in, kind of give you like an update on Homer, where we're at with this truck. By the way, let's name this thing. Put some comments down in there what we should name that truck. Give it a cool name, and we'll put the name of it on the truck somewhere. I think it's gonna be cool. So technically we got Homer, Linda, whatever y'all want to name that thing, and then we got Artie, which is my RT sitting back there. But anyway, I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time. Got a lot going on. So make sure you go check out Tim Short Auto Group, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep. Check them out. Tell them BRG sent you. Make sure to follow TNF Signs on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all that jazz. They're a major, major supporter of our channel. We love them. They do everything they can for us. Also, go out and support Advanced Auto Parts. Tell them BRG sent you. They are another huge supporter of our channel. And Little Red Barn. They take care of all of our merch and all our other jazz, some of our design work. Also, make sure to check out Calvert Racing Engines on, I believe, Facebook and Instagram. I believe that's the only two platforms he's on, but man, the work on there is insane. Calvert Racing Engines. Tell them BRG sent you. You know, show them, give them a follow, subscribe, whatever. Let's just make sure we support the people who support us. And again, Tim Short. I mean, our supporters are just coming out of the woodwork, so we want to make sure we include them, thank them, and most of all, we want to thank our members and our subscribers, because we couldn't do any of this without you. BRG out.